Hi, welcome to another segment of the Michigan Conservative Roundtable. I've got TJ on my right, Mac on my left, and I'm Kim. What I want to talk to you about tonight is what happened in Texas last week. Why did it happen? What went wrong? You know, we're hearing all this stuff from mainstream media, and let me tell you something. Most of it's false, okay? The green beanies, who I call the green people, are putting all their stuff out saying it had nothing to do with our wind power, which it indeed did. Let me give you a little bit of history back. In around 2005, green power came in via the windmills and the solar panels. The state was given subsidizes. I can't say that.
Subsidies.
They were subsidized by the federal government, and the deal was that they would take out some of their power plants and their coal plants in exchange. Okay, which was done. So what happened was, when those windmills froze, and they did freeze, and there were more than two that froze, because the green beanies will tell you, oh, there were only two windmills that froze, two turbines. No, they all froze. My friends from West Texas said there's not one moving out there, or wasn't at that time, not one. So when they froze, what happened was, it takes energy to run the gas lines. When the electric goes down, what happens to those gas lines? They freeze. So it was a vicious circle.
You're talking about natural gas.
Yes,
okay.
And you know, because the green people say, well, the natural gas lines froze. Well, there's a reason the natural gas lines froze. The power went out.
You mentioned about the wind turbines freezing and seizing up.
Right.
And to divert a little bit, and I'm going to use this pen as a pointer. And then I'm going to reach around to Kim. Actually, I'm going to do this. Right in here is a huge wind farm in Michigan. They routinely shut down in the winter.
Because they freeze.
Because they freeze. But I mean, we're not talking one or two. We're talking like 100 up there. Just south of Bad Axe. I mean, it is huge up there. But they got to shut down every winter.
And let me tell you something. In West Texas, you're talking about maybe 2,000 to 3,000 turbines. You're not talking about just a few hundred turbines. Yeah. Okay?
Well, it's a case of, and tell me if you think I'm wrong, it's a case of having all your eggs in one basket. When you drop the basket, a good many of those eggs get broken. Right. Instead of having an egg here and an egg here and a backup egg. Terry and I used to say, TJ and I used to say, we have contingencies for our contingencies.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how you get through hard times.
So we had some really bad planning, and unfortunately the state of Texas listened to the federal government at that time and put down some power plants that could have been in use as backup. If they hadn't put those down, they would have been there as a reserve.
Well, you kind of answered my question, I think, because I wanted to run by you. How did Texas get themselves into this pickle? Well, you know, that's. I mean, when I read this in the news, I immediately thought of you and said, I gotta ask him, how did this happen?
Well, I just said, all the eggs are in one basket.
And there's some more to this.
It sounds like they bought off on some BS.
Yeah, and there's some more to this. Okay, about a week before the storm came, because they knew the storm was coming, they contacted the Biden administration, and they said, "Can we lift the federal regulations barring state energy?" Because it would have gone above the emissions levels that are allowed. The Biden administration refused to allow them to go above the emissions to power up more plants. ERCOT was instructed to stay within the green energy standards by purchasing energy from outside the state instead of firing up their plants. At a higher cost, which is going to be another thing, because you're not going to believe the cost people are going to be paying for energy.
Well, I've heard there are ungodly prices down there right now.
Right. Going into effect Sunday, February 14th, emergency order shows that the Energy Department was aware of the Texas government Greg Abbott's statewide disaster declaration, and that ERCOT was readying gas utilities in preparation for the demand of the surge. The order shows Acting Energy Secretary David Holsinger did not waive the environmental standards.
Well, this ties into...
So,
yeah, okay.
he didn't waive the standards. He chose to let people freeze to death in Texas.
That's what he chose.
He
Absolutely.
chose to kill American people.
This is an example of where their symbolism is so much greater than their substance. I heard down there that there was a shelter that let people... They turned people away. They had heat. They turned people away because of social distancing.
Oh,
Golly.
that
So, he chose for his environmental green energy crap to kill people. And people have died, and they're going to find more have died in Texas. Because yesterday in my hometown, they found a woman in her home, an elderly woman froze to death. So yeah, I'm hot about this. Our federal government made a choice to allow people to die.
I'm just blown away.
Well, this is nothing new for the Democrat Party to let people die. Gretchen Whitmer has been murdering people in Michigan for the last 2 years, or last year, I'm sorry. And Andrew Cuomo has been caught red-handed murdering people.
Yeah, and they're going to get a pass. They're going to get a pass.
Here's my question: is Whitmer involved in the Texas thing? ERCOT chairman of the board is from Michigan. She's the prior head of the green energy stuff, Sally Talberg, I think her name is.
Okay.
She lives in Michigan. She's a green person.
I'm not against
green, but you know what? They don't think things out. They slam them up there.
Right. They want to replace it before it's viable.
Right, exactly.
I mean, for me, it's like gravy on the potatoes. If I could have solar panels on my house or in my yard, I would.
I'd have them.
Well, I don't, but if I could, I would. Because you know what? Hey, it cuts my bill down. It's it's that much
there's
less energy has to be
one
created.
little hiccup, and of course I heard this on one of the talk shows, so I'm just assuming what I heard was true. That some of the houses and this appeared to be the case in California, houses with solar panels didn't necessarily see their electric bill go down because these solar panels on the houses were basically contributing to the greater good of the customers, the society or the customer base in general. Because one guy was like, hey, I got all these solar panels. Why isn't my bill going down? Oh, well, basically the house was part of the whole solar energy system that was selling it back. It was almost like he was buying his own electricity almost.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, as of Wednesday, interestingly enough, the current megawatt per hour was $1,137 a megawatt.
Wow.
Is what they're charging.
Well, I saw.
Can you imagine the bills these people are going to have?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I saw a Gateway pundit report or something saying that they were getting $17,000 electric bills or something, and I was like,
I saw that too, and I thought that can't be right.
No. Currently, it was a jump of more than 6,000%, and a day later, which would have been Thursday, the Public Utility Commission of Texas set the prices at $9,000 a mega.
and of course, if you don't pay it, then they turn you off.
Right. They won't have any problem turning you off. They won't have any problem freezing you to death.
And then we're going to listen about people's student loans. I'm so sick of that.
Right. We're going to listen to student loans, but we're going to allow people to freeze to death. Something's wrong here. And the thing is the federal government is definitely tied into what happened in Texas. Texas got led astray.
Do you remember the slow response to Hurricane Katrina? The George
Oh, my
Bush
goodness.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, my God,
gosh.
he needed to be hung from a tree.
Right.
Oh, he needed to be tarred and feathered. He needed to be whipped. Crickets on this one.
Yeah.
Crickets.
Yeah, big time.
Crickets.
You got a point there.
Okay, that's all I have to say on this.
Okay.
Do you have anything?
I'm truly aghast at Texas even being in this pickle. And you know what? And here's a peripheral issue which could come to play. you know, the whole secession movement.
Oh, I think it's going to come to play.
I mean, here's the thing. Maybe they need to secede just so they can do their own thing on the electric.
So they can get control
I mean,
of their state,
gee,
because apparently the taxes they pay is not going to get them help, okay?
You know, that I always like to say that's the bigger picture, but
yeah, I don't know.
I'm shaking my head at what I even wondered, am I reading this right?
Yeah.
You know, going to the $17,000 electric bill, I said, am I reading this
Well,
right?
I didn't believe it.
You know?
So,
All right. That's
anything
it.
else?
Nope.
Oh.
Very good.
Okay.
As always, be safe.
Watch your six.
And don't tread on me.